Hello everyone, welcome to Off the Cuff, where the headlines come to life. Today we have someone who's been an inspirational speaker, someone who is an inspirational human being, and who's been called the motivational rock star of our time. With us in the studio is Mr. Ron Bachman.
Hi,
welcome,
how are you?
Welcome to Off the Cuff.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank
How's it
you.
going?
It's going well. How about with you?
Oh, terrific.
Great.
On the road right now on tour. So just came in from Jersey back to Detroit.
Well, welcome back.
Having a great time.
Welcome back. You
Thank
are a motivational speaker.
I am.
And you focus on our kids.
I do.
And that is so important, especially in this day and age, and
Yeah.
especially what they're being subjected to.
Yeah.
And bullying has been such a major thing in our schools.
Off the charts.
And
Off the charts.
and you're taking this on. You're taking this
I am.
challenge. Talk to us about that. And
Well,
you just said you were on your tour in New Jersey, and
I grew up in Detroit.
Uh-huh.
I'm a Detroiter, and obviously I'm a double amputee. I lost my legs when I was a kid due to a birth defect, and I taught myself to walk on my hands. And grew up in the inner city. Went to Cody High School. So yeah, I mean, with all the good and the love and all the things in my life, I also know a thing or two about bullying and that uncomfortable feeling
Sure.
of odd man out kind of thing. So, a few years ago, now over 20, there was a documentary film, Kathy Vander.
you mean you're over 20?
I'm over 20, right?
Okay.
Yeah, over 20 years of speaking now. Anyway, there was a documentary film made called Walk This Way, and after the movie came out, it did really well, and then Columbine happened. And people started saying you should speak to young people, talk to kids, and whatnot. And long story short, I did, and now I'm the guy. Right, traveling the country nationally since 2010 with corporate sponsors, and doing my thing and teaching these kids to walk this way. And we're seeing unusual levels of bullying and epidemics of cutting and suicide and things that you never ever seen when I was a kid growing up. You know, if you got bullied and picked on, you went home and your mom
Right.
washed your tears away and said buck up and life is tough and this and that. But we have so many kids today that come from no parents and single families and things like that.
But I also think that social media has a lot to do with it, because it's not just bullying between the person and the other individual and the kids looking at them. It's now more of a
it's the
widespread
most cowardly
thing.
form of bullying,
Yes,
because they
absolutely.
create an image of who they are, or it's just so deceitful. And they bully someone, yet they're walking past them in school. The person being bullied has no idea it's that person. And we all know that when you're sending a message or typing, you tend to think differently than if you're looking someone in the eyes. So if you're an adolescent, 13, 14, 12 years old, if you're already at that stage where you got a big mouth, right? And things are crazy in your world anyway. Now you're behind a computer where you can really let it fly, and
Your inhibitions are gone too.
Oh my gosh!
So you
yes,
let loose.
of course. Cyberbullying is at all-time high, and right, trying to rectify that and get these kids to understand the power of words. And when you say something, it's there forever, right?
You have your own personal story. As you mentioned, at a young age, because of a congenital
Sure.
defect, you lost your legs. And I'm sure, and we know kids can be very cruel.
Yeah.
So you went through that whole horrible kind of experience that kids do on an even different level, I would assume.
And it's funny because I tell my audience every day, like middle schoolers, I'll say, listen, guys, you think sixth grade's never going to end. You think you're never going to get through this. You got to stay in the game. Now, it will come to an end for you. Someday you'll be an adult. Nobody's going to be picking on you every day. But for your old buddy Ron, every time I get out of my van, every time I'm shopping, every time I'm doing whatever, I'm the focal point of people, right? So everybody looks. Very kind people, but there's also the other ones out there. So, 58 years later, I'm still doing okay in this world. And it's a
But it's still a
good
challenge.
Sure, but it's a good message for these kids to understand. you know, if Ronnie's still doing it and he's got gray hair and his goatee, right, I'm going to get through 6th grade. I'm going to get on the other side. I'm going to get on the other side of this thing. So, yeah, it's an important message.
And kids just think right now is it. Right now
Oh, we
is
all do.
everything.
Like today,
right,
today is everything. There's no next week. Right? Everything when you're that age is so dramatic, and the girls think they're all that, and they're wild and crazy, and the boys are shooting milk out of their nose and saying things, you know, they see somebody fall down a flight of stairs and they're cracking up, right? It's adolescence. They're supposed to be wild and crazy and turn the volume up to 10. Do it. You can live your life like that, but don't hurt anybody along the way. Be careful what you say to folks, right?
Absolutely. And yourself. I've seen there's such an increase in teenage suicide. And again, it goes back to that issue of social media, of the fact that, you know, your personal life is just drawn out for everyone to see.
Right, they throw themselves out there and they don't understand the ramifications, right? They all think, well, I want to be part of the crowd. People tend to think that if you're doing nothing on a Saturday night, you're a loser, right? It's like, oh my God, how come I'm not at that party? How come I'm not part of this social thing I'm seeing? And it's really important for parents to get their kids to understand, right? It's like, you got to be careful with this thing. They start to gravitate towards it to the point where they think that's their life. Like, that's reality. That's not reality. This is reality, right? You and I sitting here looking into each other's eyes. This is what the thing is about, right? This is it. Not what's going on behind out in the hallway right now that you and I are missing out on. Forget that, right? We'll join it later. We'll be a part of that. But don't start thinking your world's going to collapse because we're not out there right now.
And you're right. And there was a study that was made in regards to the social media and the Facebook because people see their friends in different areas. And there's been a depression that has happened because why am I not involved in this? Why didn't they, you know, accept me to participate in this? And I think we all feel it sometimes. We have that tinge. But as an adolescent, as someone that's just developing, I mean, this could be catastrophic and it can be tough. So, and you just gave that message, but how do you deal with that when kids tell you?
You know, I try to tell the kids, you know, I mean, the most important thing from my perspective, and it's going to sound funny now, but you got to go with me on this, it's to fall in love with you. And what I mean by that is not in a conceited, egotistical way. It's a way of recognizing I have to love me, respect me, and admire me. Because no matter how much I wished I was that other person, shooting hoops, had legs, wearing boots, doing this, doing that, I'm never going to be that person. So these kids get so lost in, I wish I was someone else. They're losing sight of who they are and what their gifts are. And they've got to pull back, look in the mirror each morning, say boo, say hi to yourself. Start in my book, we talk about don't overload your backpack. It's a metaphor, right? You let those words come in and the backpack gets so full. It gets so heavy emotionally. You can't. All of a sudden you're drained. You've got to reaffirm every day, good morning. I'm supposed to be here. Nope, I'm never going to be 6'1". I'm never going to be this, but here's who I am. Here's the gifts I can bring. Having legs will never make you a good dad. Having legs will never make you a good human being, a great parent, a good anything. Yes, are they convenient? Heck yeah, I'm jealous of you. I wish to God I would have had them. But that's not my life, right? This is my life. So what do? Do you stay home and moan and groan and say, oh my God, blah, blah, blah? Or do you jump on an Amigo and take on the world with a smile on your face? I've been married, divorced. I've got a daughter, 35. I've got 2 grandchildren now. 3 people that would have never been here if I would have given up. And I know I'm long-winded and I get excited and I get hyper.
You're getting me
excited. But it's
because
it's this thing with these kids cutting and the suicide. And it's like I get goosebumps.
Why?
And
you want to ask why.
My God, honey, stay in this game.
Yeah, but it's
You're
the pain that they
so
feel.
supposed to be here. Yes, it's the pain. It's lack of parenting. It's lack of skills. But none of us had those skills when we were 12. That's where we depended on parents and our grandparents and our loved ones to tether themselves to us and pull us along until we were ready to do it on our own.
And that's not there anymore, though.
No, it's not. I mean, it's there,
that's the change
but
of
there's
society,
a change.
right? I mean, the majority of kids really do not have that mentorship or that, you know, parental guidance. And I think even now, parents that do care, their children rebel because why do I have to follow these rules. My friends don't. So
Yeah.
it's sort of a double-edged sword at this point.
I say, I came home from school, and if somebody said this or said that, there was dinner time. You sat at the table. Your mom could see the look in your face that something was wrong. I meet so many kids today that they have no one when they get home from school. So they're hurt. They've been bullied today. So where do they turn? They turn to a friend. Well, the friend is another adolescent. That adolescent isn't able to have this, they don't have the skills of a parent or an adult, so they turn to another kid. Most often, what does that kid come back with? I wouldn't put up with that. I'd go back tomorrow and I'd do this and I'd do that. Now it's on. Now that kid that kid thinks, I have to now.
Right.
I have to.
I have it.
And here we go. Right? Where you have parents, you've got people that love you. It's even if it's not your parents, it's somebody in your community. It's a mentor. It's someone that cares about you, that can diffuse you. Somebody that can bring you down and talk common sense to you and say, listen, take a deep breath. Everybody gets picked on. Everybody gets bullied. Everybody has these moments in life. Don't let it build up inside you till you completely explode and then do something that not only you'll regret. Look at all the people's lives that are affected with the violence that we see in schools today. Think of how tragic this is when you see, and it's now become, what, one a day?
No.
Statistically, it's one a day? Somebody being shot in a school? This is crazy.
Why? Why do you think that is?
I think it's all these things that we're talking about. It's social media. It's a lack of this. Yes, there's wonderful parents that have to work. I was a single dad raising Alicia. I had to work, but at the same time, you're there. You know what I mean? I don't care if dinner's in the front seat of your car at McDonald's parking lot. Look into your kid's eyes and say, how was your day? What's going on? You're the most important thing in the world to me. Don't lose sight with, oh my God, I'm working 60 hours. Don't bother me right now. You brought that kid into the world. It's your responsibility. It's your obligation. Put your arms around the kid. I'm telling you something. It's magical. I've met so many kids who have never heard the words, I love you. Something that we take for granted, you and I.
Sure.
How many? I meet kids that don't know how to hug. They don't know. You say, what do you mean they don't know how? They do not know how to hug another human being. People say, Ron, no, come with me. Join me anytime and come on the road with me. And you'll see it firsthand. It's a lost generation of these kids. You put your arms around your kid and squeeze them to pieces, kiss them all over their face and say, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's magic with that. Look, I'm just saying it and you're smiling and turning red. It's such a cool thing. Right?
It really is.
I know, I get all geek, right?
Oh, no,
I can't help
beautiful.
it. Right?
And it's hard because our family framework has changed through
It has.
the years.
But
and
love is love.
Love is love.
Love is love. Parents been the 1930s, Depression times. There's always been single parents. There's always been hardship, right? This excuse of things have never been like this, right? But they were never like that at that time, and they were never like that 100 years before that.
Right, but I think it's more the approach of parents, and I think it's their experiences that has created this, and it's not, we haven't gone back to our principles and our morals and our way of, I mean, we grew up with leave it to Beaver, yes sir,
right.
And that
but
was
level of respect,
yes.
A level of respect for any adult. Your neighbors could kick your butt, right? If my neighbor saw me doing something up at the park, throwing snowballs, doing something, shagging cars. I don't care what I was doing as a kid. Your neighbor would snatch you up and say, Ronnie Bachman, do you want me to take you home to your parent? You see kids today, if a neighbor tells them something,
who are you?
You kidding? I'll call an attorney.
Yeah.
Right? It's a different, you're right. It's different. I'm with you on this. So it's like, what's the walk this way message? First, it's to my kids. Embrace yourself. Fall in love with you and understand. Mm-hmm. You're never going to be anybody than who you are. Mm-hmm. So if that's the truth.
And you have to love yourself before you can love anyone
else.
Let's
go with
part of society.
If it's true that you are Ron's never going to be anybody other than Ron, then why not seize the moment and be the best Ron you can be? Yeah, I was a crazy teenager. Drugs, alcohol, partying, growing up in the 70s. Yeah, of course we all go through our things, right? But ultimately, my mom and dad instilled in me a value that you need to instill in every person. Your parents instilled it in you. The folks I've met here today at the Brewer Center, these people here I've met today, they all have that. They all have got that spirit. And there's thousands. I also want to say quickly, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of kids that I meet that are doing great. Wonderful parents out there. And we tend to talk about the lost few. But let's not lose sight with all the awesome kids
Sure.
that will be the adults of tomorrow. They're going to take this country over, and they're going to be the ones we're looking to for leadership and whatnot.
Well, absolutely, and let's hope they're the majority.
Yeah.
But I do focus on those lost kids because they do have so much potential,
Sure.
and they are, they can be working, contributing parts of society.
Absolutely.
But it's their environment, and we are all products of our environment.
Right.
And so, that's what we have to focus on, and that's what you do. I know you've done a tour over 200 schools.
Yeah,
basically.
Honest to gosh, I'm telling you, it's true. I've been on tour since 2010, taking breaks, of course, over the summer.
On your motorcycle?
Yeah,
or in your
my
van?
motorcycle. No, I've been in my Chrysler van, right?
I want to ride on that motorcycle.
Right. Yeah, we will this summer. I promise. I'll
All right.
pick you up. We'll
Sounds
go for
good.
a ride. Right?
That sounds like a plan.
But yeah, I've been on tour. We're averaging right around a couple hundred shows a year. And again, with my sponsors, a group of Dodge dealers around the country that bring me in. Each dealer brings me in for a week, and I do a block of shows. And then Linamar Corporation, which is a very large global entity out of Guelph, Ontario, that supports me, provides me with my transportation and my sponsorship. And without these folks, right? And I say to you folks watching, corporate America here in Detroit, right? Sponsor the program. Show tour support. I'm helping these kids, and we're together. We're changing. Together, we're literally teaching people to walk this way, which has become a mindset and a metaphor that started with me with my friendship with Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Right. And
yes.
now today, of course, it has nothing to do with walking. It's about walking this way through life.
Right.
I love me, I respect me, and I admire me. And that's what these kids are screaming and hollering at the end of an hour show, right?
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
My husband has always told our kids what's important, literally, from here up.
It's true.
Because it's your heart.
It is.
And it's your mind.
It
and
is.
with those two things intact,
Right.
you can conquer the world.
It is. I mean,
and you're a perfect example
I get
of that.
I get
You do get it.
That I look different. I mean, I see people sometimes, and you can't help but turn your head. It's a natural instinct. But like I tell my kids, my kids around the country, there's a big difference between looking and noticing, and then staring.
Right.
And then asking inappropriate questions. You do not need to know the answer to everything. We think we do at that moment, but if you take a deep breath and all of a sudden Ron jumps in his van and he's gone, all of a sudden, out of sight, out of mind. You don't need to know every little personal thing with someone. Leave people alone, for God's sakes.
So what's the boundary between curiosity and
What you think of it in terms of, I say to the kids all the time, think of what would be okay for someone to ask you, right? If I asked you the most personal, embarrassing question, would you like that?
Absolutely
Well, of course not, Ronnie. No. Well, then enough. Enough. I get curiosity. I get that. But chill out, folks. It's all good, right?
Absolutely, without a doubt. You have a documentary called Walk This Way, and that came out in 1998.
Oh my gosh!
Right? And that
you
was
believe that movie's
amazing.
coming up on? It is. It's coming up on 20th anniversary, and it's a documentary. Kathy Vander here from Detroit produced and directed, and the movie did really well. It won a bunch of awards and things like that, and that's what launched me, right? Kathy Vander and that team. And the movie's available through Vander Films if you go to the net. And yeah, we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of that.
Well,
right?
not only that, you have a reality show coming up called Walk This Way.
We do. Actually, we shot a pilot, a gentleman named Jeff Thomas, Rainstorm Pictures, and he shot a pilot called Changing Lives with Ronnie Bachman.
Sort of a reality show.
It's a reality show, and we shot the pilot, and now it's out of my hands. And now they're out shopping it and seeing if they can get someone to pick it up. To be honest with you, I'm kind of on the fence because after I shot it, I see so many things with reality TV that I'm not sure now, where I'm like, do I want to do this? And then I go on the road.
But I think you define reality TV a little bit more of a different way.
And then I hit the road.
Yeah.
And then there's 1,000 kids a day, 5,000-6,000 a week, and then I think, no, this would be good for them to be able to tune in each week and watch Ronnie and his travels and the stories of the road and these kids and focus not so much on Ron, focus on these kids and their trials and tribulations so that these kids that are watching that show know they're not alone, that there's other kids that are going through the same thing as these kids, and let Ron be the conduit, right? Let me be that link that ties us all together. Yeah, in that aspect, I'd be excited about doing a show.
Absolutely.
Right, but if the show's about Ron, we'll see, right? We'll see how they
Well, I
how
think
they
it's
do
got
it.
to be a combination because
Right, but
you
you know
are
what
an
I mean.
inspiration.
Well, thank you, but you know what I
and
mean.
you've overcome so many what other people would call hurdles, which
Yeah.
you mostly call a challenge and
Yeah.
welcoming one, and I think that would be an amazing
Thank you.
story to tell and someone to
Yeah.
be able to tune in. But yeah, I think you're inspiration for the kids and changing their perspectives in their lives. Have you ever followed up on individuals that you've yes.
Are you kidding me?
What have you
I've
found?
got kids all over this country that started out, well, Taylor Anthonson, Kenosha, Wisconsin. I met her in 10th grade. She's now doing great. She's a graduate of Wisconsin State, and she just moved to the Big Apple, and she's off and running. Desiree, I call her Cupcake because she asked me, could she smash me in the face with a cupcake and put it on YouTube? I said, go for it, right? So I call her Cupcake. She's from Guelph, Ontario. Quite a story.
We got
Quite a story.
cupcakes in here? No,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Quite a story that I won't share, but believe me, quite a story. Young lady, talk about overcoming circumstances in life. She's doing great. She's doing great. And Cameron Canzaneri from the Detroit area. I met when he was a kid, and he was definitely had his moments. He's now in his mid-20s, managing a restaurant, doing this, doing that. Oh yeah, we got a ton of success stories out there, right? That these kids that stay with me for years and years. We give out these Walk This Way bracelets, right? The bracelets, I'm sorry I don't have one. And we've given out through Chrysler, through Dodge, through the Dodge guys and Linamar, 500,000 bracelets. And if you go to Facebook, if you go to Walk This Way Facebook or RonnieBachman.com, you'll see these kids wearing their bracelets and they kind of my colors, right? And they'll say, wear it forever, Ron, right? And I've got stories of kids wearing it on their ankle because their coach told them you can't wear it with your colors at the game, so they hide it under their sock because they made that commitment, right, to put it on and walk this way forever. So, oh yeah, we got this success stories going on.
So you sort of see the aha moments. When
Oh,
you're
I
talking
see the
to these
aha
kids.
moments every day when that light goes on and I get to that autograph table and here comes 400 kids at me, right? It looks like cattle coming at you, and here they come, that storm, right? Taking off their shoe, sign my shoe, sign my forehead, sign my hand, sign this, sign my phone, sign my basketball, sign my hockey stick. Walk this way forever, Ronnie. We get them wound up. I get them wound up. We get them screaming and hollering, oh yeah, I love me. I respect me. I admire me. Oh yeah, right? And you feel this energy and you see teachers crying on the sidelines, right? And you see parents going like this and saying, oh my gosh, what's going on with this guy? But here's the reality. When we say to these kids afterwards, why Ron? What was it about Ron? You got all kind of speakers that come in about bullying. Why Ron? We always get the same thing. Oh, because Ronnie knows pain. Ronnie understands. Now, that young lady may be 20 pounds overweight. Maybe this kid is suffering because of acne disorder. Maybe this kid's suffering because of no parents. Maybe all kinds of things. But they see Ron, and somehow there's a kindred spirit, friendship that develops. And they'll say, well, Ronnie's just like me. Ronnie's nothing like you. But at the same time, Ronnie's exactly like you. Mm-hmm. You're hurting, I'm hurting. So that's why we're having the success we're having, right? Politicians, everybody pass all the legislation, get all those bills in place, do what needs to be done for these kids. But you got to have a soldier in the front lines with these kids. Here I am.
And you're the soldier.
I'm the guy.
There's a quote that I think you just said, why Ron? Why not Ron?
Yeah.
It's obvious why me. The first thing they're going to recognize is that I know. I don't just think I know what it's like to feel different, not through middle school, not through high school, for 54 years.
58 now.
58 years.
58 years I've been walking this way.
I just
You took
gave
it
you
from the
4
book.
years.
Yeah, you did. Thank you. Right? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's like I get emotional.
Guessed.
Thank you. I get emotional over it because if anybody, which we do, we have people that come out on the road and we shoot videos and stuff, and it is one of those, you got to see it to believe it. We've tried to capture it on video and then throw it out there on the web. You can't capture it. You can't really get Ron with a live audience unless you're there and you really see it. It really is, and the tears and the joy and everything that goes on after the show and during the show. And I had a young lady, it reminds me of someone right now, I had a young lady in Monroe, last year, and we got into Q&A, and she put her hand up, and I just am so, I just know it's going to be a question for Ron about Ron, right? Or something to do with bullying or something. And when I got to her and I said, yes, what's on your mind, right? And she started crying, and she said, I don't really have a question. I just want you to know I love you, and I want you to have legs, Ronnie. I just wish I could find a way to give you legs. Now, you hear that, and you see a 13-year-old looking at you with all the innocence of everything. And you say, well, do you slow down, Ron? Do you start thinking of retiring? Do you start thinking, maybe going to radio, do this, do that? And you go, not yet, right? And then think of the innocence and how big her heart to say, oh, I've been bullied. Oh, I got this problem, I got that problem, me. No. Her whole focus was, I know there's no way I can do it, Ron, but I just wish I could find a way to give you legs. If I could give you mine, I'd give you mine. What a special young lady, right?
Absolutely.
And I meet thousands of them a week while we're out there doing our tour, right?
But and I think that's amazing for this young lady to think that way. But I look at you, and I look at you as a very whole person.
Thank you.
You're
legs don't make you
7
old.
feet exactly
Thank
tall.
you for the compliment, though.
And it's
so
not a
sweet.
compliment. It's really, really how I feel.
Thank you.
And I think you've accomplished so much. And as an inspiration to young, old alike, I think there's a whole bunch of lessons that can be learned from there. Your book is on Amazon.com.
It is.
Walk This Way by Ronnie Bachman.
Connie Kuhn.
And Connie
She
Kuhn.
was my co-writer.
Life lessons for dealing with bullies and bad times.
What we
need this. We need this.
Yeah, thank you. The book, Connie and I teamed up on it, and I went on the road and kept notes and made tapes and whatever, and came back home and dumped it all on her and said, oh my gosh,
this is it.
Here's
Let's
what we're
do it.
finding. And then we talked, and then of course she wanted stories of my life, and then we in juxtaposition, right? We intertwined them together for the book, and the book is now in public libraries around the country. I'm so flattered. I'm so flattered that people are finding inspiration in the kids, right? They'll have the book before I get to the school, and they'll walk up to me and hand me the book to sign it, and it's beat up and weathered.
Oh, that's
and
great,
I'm like,
because it means they're reading it.
Yes, you've been reading the book, right? And it just makes me feel so good. So thank you for everything, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The opportunity.
That's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for being here.
Anytime.
It just went by so quickly.
It always does, right?
I could talk to you for
That's
a
'cause
lot
you're the
longer.
real deal,
Thank
right?
you.
And I love that. Thank you.
It's been really phenomenal and such an honor to have you here
Yeah.
and to hear your story, which is just a regular story of a person who's just making a difference
different than anybody else.
in life. Absolutely.
Just get up. We
And,
all have these
and you
gifts.
ride a motorcycle. I'm really scared of being on a motorcycle.
Well, we'll go
but
this summer.
I'm
This
gonna
coming
do
summer.
this. You promise?
I promise.
All right.
Believe me, I promise.
Sounds like a
And
plan.
we'll get photos, we'll get video, and then you folks at home, she can show it to you. And we'll go blowing down Michigan Avenue or Telegraph or whatever. We'll go down to Woodward, right?
That's a
The new
plan.
Detroit, right? We'll cruise down Jefferson Avenue or somewhere.
Got
Have
it.
some fun.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I cannot
thank
wait.
you.
You're also going to be at the Images and Perceptions
I am.
Diversity Conference in April. Yes,
Right. Yeah,
so I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah.
forward to that. Your new book, your new reality show possibly
Well,
coming
we'll
up,
see.
Walk This Way, and we're going to
Changing
hear a
Lives with
lot.
Ronnie Bachman.
Changing Lives with Ronnie Bachman. Absolutely.
Right.
RonnieBachman.com,
Right.
Amazon.com. Please look this individual up if you want a change in your life and schools. RonnieBachman.com is the way to go. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Nice seeing you.
We'll see you later.